Hello everybody, Steffi here from The Makers. Hope you're all well and enjoying this extremely autumnal weather here in the UK. I was woken up on Sunday morning with thunder and lightning and heavy rain. Talking to one of my daughters, she said she absolutely loved it, lying in bed listening to the rain. She felt all cozy and yeah, like, oh, she loves the autumn weather, and I felt absolutely terrified. Really don't like it, but everybody's different, so maybe you loved it, who knows. Anyway, we've got today we've got to make one of these Tomte, and I'm just going to check something quickly because I can only see the screen in a smaller window, and I don't know if that is, no, I think it's normal. I think everything's normal. It's just because I'm watching it on another device. The screen looks really tiny here, so I might just have to go out and in again. But I've got another screen here so I can read the comments. That's the only reason why I'm doing that. And I'm going to say hello to some of you. Hello Awkward Prawn, hello Heather, Gemma is there, Vampire Venom, Sandra, Anne, oh, from Canada. Hello, Anne from Canada, from Ontario. We've got Diane here, Alison. Lovely sunny day in Leicestershire, says Alison. And we've got Diana here from the north of Scotland, and also Carol from Ireland. It's a very colourful international mix here today, which is perfect. I love it. And of course we're making this little chap. He's a super easy, totally suitable for beginners, I promise you, felting project. He's also one of these projects that if you've lost your confidence in needle felting for one reason or another, it's usually nothing to do with us, but it could be that you've never tried our kits before, our materials, then this is the perfect project to get you right back into it again. I've now run it on several occasions at workshops, at shows, and the results are absolutely brilliant. Everybody manages to do a fantastic little gnome like this, an autumn gnome, and I'm just going to show this from the top, an autumn gnome in particular because of these beautiful autumnal colors which are created by using the dragon mix, which is one of our mixed wool bats. And you never quite know what color you get, but that's just like autumn leaves. You never quite know what color these autumn leaves or the autumn colors are going to be. And whilst I'm talking about autumn, let's just have a look what our today's price is. So we have got a £15 gift voucher to give away, which you can enter the competition by commenting here live on YouTube, but also live on Facebook when we repeat the stream on Thursday, which is the 27th of October 2022. Nearly wanted to say 23 because I've been looking at lots of dates. 23. And what we want you to tell us is Halloween is almost here. Tell us something spooky. Tell us a spooky story or a spooky situation you found yourself in, or anything spooky. Just, we want to hear it, and just pop it into the comments, and then Alicia will enter your name into the competition pot, and at the end of the month we will announce the lucky winner of £15 gift voucher for our online shop. And you can of course do exactly the same on Facebook Live on Thursday at 7 PM on our Facebook page, The Makers. If you can't find us, or if you want to tag us, our Facebook name is actually themakers.co.uk, exactly how it is behind me here. There, that's our Facebook name, themakers.co.uk, whereas on the other social media platforms we're just The Makers with double S. And of course, if you are watching this and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. If nothing else, give us the thumbs up, or get yourself a badge as well. Right, let's have a look what's inside the kit, because this is what I'm using here today, and I'm going to do this on the overhead camera so we can look into it together. Right, there's the kit. It comes in a slightly more unusual box, but I tell you what's really funny is when the tomte is made, he'll sit inside that box and he can look through that window. I love it when they all leave the workshop sitting inside the box looking out. There's nothing worse than imagining that your tomte is sitting in a dark box. So there you go. So as in all of our kits, this is quite a sturdy box actually. You will get the felting needles and you get the felting mat, which is here. You also get the instructions, you get all the tools, and this is the surprise part in this box where you get a ready-made round ball made from wool, and that is the bit that will make things much easier for you, because you have a ready-made shape and you don't need to make it yourself. However, making a shape yourself is not actually the end of the world. It's quite easy to do that, because if you have a little bit of core wool, you can literally just roll it into a ball, roll it, give it a few stabs, felt it down, job done. Now Alicia's given me a very good idea that she does these Zoom meetings for our subscription boxes, and she said that you can actually also just tie knots. So I've not done this before, so this might look a little bit different, but tie a knot into the wool. If you can manage to use I'm actually using the lanolin rich, and I've just torn off a strand so that it looks like a sliver, but you can also use our lanolin rich, and then if you wanted to tie a knot that's nice and firm, you can also probably just overlay the wool in that way. I have no idea if this is how Alicia has done it, but that's another way of how you can make a very quick and simple ball shape and then just felt it down, and you've got a shape here ready made. Right, we've got a ready-made ball, so we don't need to worry about this. Also, we have got other tutorials on our playlist here on the YouTube channel. So if you needed to see how a basic shape is made, you can do this too. Right, you can of course give your tomte different color curls, but in this kit you get the white curls, and it's a very simple instruction, so nothing to get too worried about. And if you have never used one of our eco wool mats before, you get these in our kits. They come in different sizes depending on the project. This one, you take this label off, you don't need that. The mat is used on top of each other, both of them on top of each other. You will have 3 medium needles in your toolkit here. I'm going to use what I've already out and ready. So my wool mats, here they are, 2 of them. It's completely new project for you. Then just use your felting needle and practice your wool stabbing for a bit by stabbing into the wool mats, both of them on top of each other, and that hopefully will what will happen is that you should be able to see the 2 parts of the wool mats to be felted together, and it's already happened. So that is basically what's happening here. Now I'm just going to try something here. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference to anything, but it's really annoying me on my screen. My screen is tiny and I don't really know why. Anyway, going to go onto the main screen now. So stabbing into your wool mat, straight in and out, rested on your table obviously. Try and make the movement of the needle so that it's like a sewing machine needle, literally up and down, rather than putting a curved motion onto it. Worse still, knitting, poking, pulling, none of that business with a felting needle. Stabbing. It's the only time you're allowed to stab a needle into wool. And I'm just going to have a quick look if there's some spooky comments. I will... Gina says, I did this at one of the workshops I went to when I was starting out. I think we were making pumpkins. Excellent. Marian says, when I was a teenager living at home with my parents, I was at home alone one night when I heard footsteps upstairs. I knew I was alone in the house, so it was very scary. It might have been the floorboards creaking. Okay, well, you can't leave us hanging like this. Who was it? What was it? Sneeze alert. Excuse me. Oh dear, that was just about in time. Okay, that made me sneeze. I was so fearful. We need to know what happened. It might have been the floorboards creaking. Yeah, but they don't creak on their own, Marian. Tell us. Tell us who was working on them. We need to know. Anyway, I'm going to start here now on this, oh no, has she said it? No, she hasn't said it. Okay, I'm going to start on the Tomte now. Right, so you've got that bowl shape, and that's going to be inside the Tomte. So if you look in here, you can still see the bowl a little bit there. But what we need to do first of all is we need to give him a nose. And you've got to, and this is practicing your basic shaping as well. So you have this pink bit of wool, and you can roll this into a bowl shape by winding it up from one end to the other. So that is the main way of how you make a shape, certainly with our wool bats and certainly how we explain it. And you sort of continue teasing the other end out a little bit more so that you get many, many wraps onto that basic shape. And when you've got to the end of these wispy fibers, then you fold them over and you're going to give them a stab with your felting needle so that they they stay together. Now I've only given this like literally 2-3 stabs, you saw me, and then you stab into the rest of the wool shape, bowl shape, just to firm it up a little bit, but also to give it a bit more of a shape. You're aiming for a bowl, but if your nose for the Tomte is slightly oval, that's fine too. Now I know that this is a dangerous part of needle felting where you could easily stab your fingers. So there are several ways of how to avoid this. First of all, definitely always look at what you're doing. So don't take your eyes off and then suddenly you've nipped your finger instead of the wool. That's one way. You can get finger protectors, but I find them really bulky and clumsy, so I don't use them. You can also use another needle, hold your work down and then stab. Now that is okay as long as you don't hit the other needle, and you have to sort of almost unpick it, and it feels a bit like you're working with chopsticks. So the main thing I would say is just keep your fingers out of the way and watch where that needle is going and nothing else. And certainly don't do it when you're feeling tired, and maybe you shouldn't be needle felting if you're tired. So yeah, do it with a fresh mind and fresh hands. That's what I would say. Right, so once you've done a little bowl shape, there it is, you can use your existing bowl shape, and now we're going to attach it to it. So the way to attach it is you hold it against it, so you need to do this with one hand, and then with the other hand you're now catching the pink fibers here at the edge of the shape that you've just felted, and you literally stuff them inside the white shape. So the reason why we're giving you medium needles is because this white bowl shape is being felted very, very well. My guess is it has been wet felted, so therefore it's absolutely rock solid. There's no reason why the whole shape of your Tomte can't be so firm, but it's not necessary. So this will fasten the wool ball on to your Tomte, and now that you've got it on there, you can let go of the shape and just emphasize that fastening on a little bit more, going all the way around. And if you need to reduce the size of the nose, then you can stab into it as well. But mostly just catch these fibers that are on the side of the ball and stuff them right into the white ball. This is what the needle does. This is what it's made for. This is how to use it as its best, because the little notches at the end of the needle here, when I run my finger across, my finger gets sort of stuck on it if I go from the tip towards the fatter part of the needle, and there are notches in there. They're not barbs, contrary to what people think. They're actually notches, and when you stab that into the wool, it tucks the fiber inward, so you feel a resistance. You can also get that sort of, let's just listen to the crunch. Love that noise. Love that even better. So you can hear the crunch, 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 and that is literally the needle catching the fibers and pushing them inward. And so now you've got a little bit of a strange looking contraption here. The nose is fastened on. None of this white ball will be visible by the end of the project. So now we need to dress the Tomte. This is where people struggle a little bit to understand. So if you, because you fastened a ball onto a ball, it doesn't really matter where it goes. You just now need to decide. that where the front is and what the top is. And the idea is that you fasten the green wool onto your shape, so it goes all the way around to the other side, can even be under the nose, but it's not necessary. So imagine this was like a clown's head, and he's got a bald head here, and the nose is sticking out at the front, and the green is his hair. That's what you've got to imagine. Not that that is what we're doing, but if you imagine that, then you will get the wool on in the right place. So the base is here, where I'm patting it, and the top is there where the hat will go later. And you're just going to stab this into the ball shape, because not only can you attach different shapes, you can also attach different colors. So with every stab you do, you are attaching now this extra wool that you've laid over the outside and felted down into the shape. Now what we want to make sure of is that this bit here that goes past the ball underneath, so this is the top, this is the bottom, isn't going to be felted down in shape of the ball, because that is the bit that we need to felt slightly into sort of a tapered, not a tapered, but like a spilled out shape here at the bottom, so that this shape can stand, that the tomte can stand and doesn't roll over. But get the wool on first and then worry about the edge. And the upper part of it, you don't need to make that neat, because it will be completely covered by the hat. The hat will go over the green wool, so there's an overlap happening. You don't need to cover the top of the ball, because it's not necessary, but you certainly need to dress your tomte around the side. And we want to give it a proper base so it can stand on. So I've only used very little of that green wool. I've still got loads of this left. And by the way, if you've got the tomte pack, some of you might have Teeswater curls in your kit, and some of you might have Blueface Leicester curls in the kit. So either of them will be fine to use for the tomte's beard. Even if you've got dark grey or brown curls, the Blueface Leicester curls, that's fine. Or why not give him some funky coloured beard? So if you've got multicoloured curls, then that's fine too. We buy our curls from British suppliers, so they're all being hand sorted, hand washed, and they come from British sheep. I'm felting this down still, going all the way around. And the bit that is hanging past the ball, that is what I'm going to sit on the felting mat now, and I'm going to stab into it, so that I'm actually stabbing it into the mat. So I need to lift it off quite quickly, because it's going to be like an extra bit that I've now got spilling out at the bottom, but that will act as a the overspill will act as a stand, so that the ball doesn't actually fall and roll away. So give that a few stabs. You can see why this is an easy beginner project, because there's actually very little you can do wrong, and a lot of it gets covered, not just once, but with more wool over the top. So I've got a base here, but now I have a base there. You can also cover the whole of the underneath if you feel it needs to be covered. It's not necessary, but you have plenty of green to do so. So at the moment I'm just adding wool so that I get my little stand here. And as long as the nose doesn't get covered, you want the nose to be visible. You can cover most of it that is going from the side along what you imagine where the ears might be, all the way to the back of the head. So this is the bottom part. This is not the top, but this is the top here. I think that's the only thing that confuses people, having watched them do it, is that they suddenly lose perspective, which part is they're actually working on at the time. So one part stays bald at the top, and the other part gets this extra overspill of green wool, so that the tomte can stand without rolling over. And if you felt straight into the mat as I'm doing here, just remember to lift it off quite quickly, because you are actually fastening the green wool into your felting mat, and therefore it gets stuck on there, so you don't want it to get stuck on too much that you can't actually pull it off again, or only pulling it off without tearing it. So getting there, felt that down to turn it sort of into almost like a cloak, so the cover looks like a little bit like a cloak. Again, this is also a perfect example of a kit where you can felt for hours and hours and hours to make it perfectly neat, or just give it a few stabs and job's done. Needle felting has this tendency that it doesn't have to always be completely solidly felted, and doesn't always have to be completely neat. It's fine as long as it holds together and you can recognize what you're actually making. This is one of those projects where you don't need to be 100% neat. So a good one for people who find it hard to concentrate for a long time, or for people who haven't got much time in their lives. Right, he's standing on his own now, proving it by standing him here. I'm just going to show it to the front camera. There you go. So he's got that little overspill, and from the underneath you can still see the white ball. But as I say, it doesn't matter, because he's going to be sitting on it, so you can't actually see it. Now, where the bit is under the nose that is white, that's going to be where the beard is. So the beard will actually spill out as well, and it will look really lovely if you've got him sitting on a shelf where the beard spills over the shelf, or on a nice colourful, maybe a Christmas red tablecloth, or maybe a spooky Halloween one where the beard sort of floats around and hangs over the actual shape. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you some of the projects here in the Making Simple Needle Felts book, because it's split into seasons. So I thought it might be quite nice to have a look at some of the autumnal makes, because there are also gnomes in there. Let's just have a look. Where does it start? There, autumn. So we've got a hairy spider in there, we've got mini apples and an apple girl. We did that as a live stream, so you can certainly look at that. Toadstools, the toadstool will come as a free tutorial on our newsletter in November, so watch out for it on our website, and certainly on our printed newsletters and our email newsletters. If you want to sign up to our mailing list, just go onto our website and you can find the sign up button there. We've got mushrooms and leaves. The leaves is already a tutorial on our YouTube channel. We've got pumpkins, and the pumpkin girl, again, it has got tutorials on our YouTube channel. A snail, super easy to make. The acorns, gnome, and pinecone gnome. So here's the hairy spider, the apple girl, which is a tutorial on YouTube. There's a toadstool. Love the toadstools. I don't know if anybody saw them on Everyone in Makeup. Posted it this morning. They've come back after they'd been mown over by the groundskeeper here, which upset me a great deal. But they are back now, and there's absolutely loads in the forest. There's a toadstool boy. I love these little sort of natural fairies. Why not just make a mushroom? There's loads of mushrooms and lots of fungi around. Leaves, this is using the water-soluble paper technique. Again, in the book you get a template, or just collect your own autumn leaves and use them as a template. We've done pumpkin girl and pumpkins, that's the tutorial. And then the snail is basically collect an empty snail shell and just needle felt your snail to sit inside. It has got a little hump, so it fits into the shell. And then why not make lots of colourful acorns? Collect all the caps. It's the time of the year to do this now, and then needle felt the little balls and then glue the caps onto the wool ball, and then you can hang them up as well. They look very charming, really sweet. There's another version of a gnome, and then you get the pinecone gnome, which is actually basically a pinecone with a nose attached, bit of fluff for a beard and a hat. And that completes the autumn section, and of course winter and Christmas is not that far away, so There's a donkey live stream on our YouTube tutorial as well. There's Father Christmas. We've got, that's a big project. We've got the snowman. We do this as a kid. It's such a fun activity to do, especially in a group, because you can make their faces in sort of changing comical ways, make them look happy, grumpy, astonished, cross, whatever. Really simple project. Sheep, that is one thing that's also on YouTube on our playlist, because we did the whole nativity, which, speaking of which, is here. Joseph and Mary with baby Jesus, and there was originally an ox, but my dog ate it, and I could never get myself to make another one, so it's not in the book. And then we've got a little round robin on legs. That's also become more or less a kit. It's a little bit different, but you can buy that from our website now. Another really simple kit. And then of course Christmas baubles. You can make them however you want to. Christmas pudding's always a favorite. And that's the end of the book. But that was only the autumn and winter section. So of course there's also spring and summer, which I will show you another time. Right, let's have a quick look at what spooky stories people are telling. Okay, so basically, Marion says, I never found out. I was too afraid to go upstairs. Oh my goodness. Vampire Venom says, where I grew up, we had a draft past Mum and Sis and figure 8 around my ankles. It followed us when the housing moved us to do work on the house. We were convinced it was my first cat still with us. Oh yeah, figure of 8, that would figure. Sorry. Okay, so basically you moved house and it followed you. Nice one. Gina said, many years ago we lived in an old house. One night I woke to see someone standing next to the bed who went on to drift through the wall. No one believed me when I told them. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you, I have definitely met ghosts in our old house. And I was more able to sense them and see them even when I was pregnant, and then when I had my children, I never saw them again. But other people who came to our house said, you do realize you've got somebody here, and I knew then that we did. But my oldest daughter, she was really affected by it, and she refused to sleep in her room because she kept saying, I don't like the headless people looking through my window. How they were able to look through her window with no heads, I don't know. I haven't worked out up to this date, but there was definitely something strange going on. And cut a very long story short, we did sort of a little ceremony in the house and told all the whatever you want to call them to just pass over and basically leave this place now, and that was that. So yeah, my daughter slept in the room again. So I do believe that there are, it's not all funky stories. I believe you, Gina. I believe you. Lorna says, only spooky thing I can think of is my grand's wood carving mallet. Went missing, looking all over the house for it. Then when I was just about to give up, it was exactly where I had left it. Now that sounds more like a Tomte mischief. So talking about Tomte, if you don't know this, but once you've got a Tomte, you have to feed it porridge at Christmas. Otherwise it plays little tricks on you. So this might have been a Tomte, Lorna. I'm going to get nightmares from you guys, says Alicia. No, you won't. It's all friendly stuff. Nothing's come to harm. Orchid Prawn says, we have the ghost of a young girl in our house. Mostly hangs out in the kitchen. Not threatening at all. There you go. They're not threatening at all. Violina says hello. Hello. Elaine is there. Hello everyone. Sorry, completely forgot what day it was. Yes. Carol says, hi everyone from a lovely sunny Spain. Not talking to you. Vampire Venom says, Dad told me he saw 2 youngish children on the tube. Dirty, disheveled, I think Victorian-esque. A decade later, same line, same time, he saw them again. Same children, same look, same age. I really believe you all. Lorna says, I remember something spooky about my new dresser for my bedroom. In the middle of the night, a large hound jumped out off the dresser mirror, then sat on me before jumping out the window. Oh my god, that does sound a bit scary. Okay. Bridget says, the old man who died in my house came to visit at night for a long time. My kids made me change rooms. Yes, I could smell his alcoholic breath. I kept telling him gently but firmly he needed to go. That's the way to do it. He needed to go. And I can't remember, but I read a book at the time when all this stuff was happening, and there was actually this sort of quite a funny thing of saying to people, move along, you know, your loved ones are waiting for you, don't hang around. And apparently one person said, you haven't met my wife, so that's why he was hanging around. He didn't want to join her, which I thought was very funny. Gemma says, it was dark and raining outside, but me and my dad had the back door open because it was warm, and we have a screen. Suddenly it went cold and I saw a human silhouette outside in a lightning flash. Lorna says, probably dreamt it, but it was the strangest feeling. I still have that dresser. Well, this is the thing, you see, I thought I dreamt it, but it's the goosebump effect, and there are other things associated with it, like smells and sort of like the hackles go up. It's that kind of feeling. I don't think you can dream it. And I was physically moved. I was lying in my bed and somebody physically moved me to the side, and that I'm pretty certain I didn't dream that. Especially when other people picked up on it in our house, completely made a comment uninvited. Alison says, my nun's neighbour always walked past her driveway and waved. When she asked why she did it, she replied, I'm waving to the soldier who's always standing there. My grandfather died in the war. Oh, that's so sad. Carol says, my brother lived in a converted old workhouse. What have we started here? Still had iron rings in the floor to chain people up. One night she woke screaming. She had a large Z-shape scratched on her back. Scary. Okay, all right. It's all good, guys. Don't get too freaked out. Let's read Awkward Prawn. I've had a slightly scarier story. Oh my god, but I won't tell it here. Too long. I didn't really believe, but I do since moving here. Wales is the most haunted country apparently, and I do believe that too, because the guy who came to our house, bless his soul, he's no longer alive, he was the one who said, you do know that you've got somebody here in the house with you. And what happened to him, I will tell a story, is that he was playing with his older brother when they were children in the garden, and he is from Wales. His parents are from Wales. His family's from Wales. He's Welsh basically, and he fell into a water butt and couldn't get out, and his brother couldn't pull him out, and he sort of basically he drowned, but he remembers everything that was happening. Because he was eventually pulled out by his mum, and they were sitting in the sitting room. They had a fire going, and he remembers looking down from above somewhere onto himself. So he had this sort of out of body experience, and he just remember his grandmother saying, "Oh, at least you've got another son," or something like that, which in olden days would probably be something that people would say because they probably had lots of children, and then he must have come round again. But he said ever since then he saw people that other people couldn't see. So that was that all happened in Wales as well. Anyway, let's just make an innocent little tomte. And it is Halloween after all, so we're allowed to tell spooky stories. Okay, here we go. So now we need to give our tomte the curly beard, and for this you've got curls in your kit, or maybe you've got curls anyway, and I'm going to get my scissors out, because with curls I am breaking the rule of not cutting wool, because you don't want to pull them too much. These are actually quite separated, so have a look at the curls. I think what is always good is to maybe cut them to size, because we want to add the curls here at the front, but we also want to have some to go round the hat later. I'm going to cut some of these wispy bits off here, and I use that later for hair. My felting mat back into place, and I'm just going to attach these now. You have to sort of imagine that they have to sit from ear to towards the nose part. So felt them on with your felting needle. If you struggle to get the curls felted on, that sometimes it works to just tease them open a little bit so that the needle can grasp the wool fibers better. Felt them on. Remember, there's a hat going over the top of the tomte, so it's not too essential that it's neat at the top. Everything that gets covered up, you don't need to stress about keeping it neat. Love these rainbow scissors. And then felt it down around his nose. Keep the nose exposed. We will be covering some of it up when the hat goes on. Should have plenty of curls to give him an even cover of a beard. So there you go. I've got some of them are a little bit longer, some of them are a bit shorter. It's your own design. It's the only time maybe where you can design a beard. Felt it on this side as well. And if it's not enough of a layer, then just go over it again. But try and get the whole width of the beard done first, because then at least you know where you are with the curls, and if need be you can stop. If you want to shorten the curls but you don't want to cut them, you can also fold them under and fasten them on. And I'm going to keep all these cut off bits for hair, but I've still got a bundle of curls here. So I'm going to put them on the front just to do a bit more beard there. So I'm just going to fasten them on here under his nose. So stab them into the wool. Like I say, if the curl doesn't want to stay on, then just tease it open a little bit. They're quite obliging, but I'm also very determined not to let them have their own way. And once the curls are on, the only thing that's left now is to make the hat. Now the hat is a little bit of a project by itself, because it's a different style of hat making. This is a new way of making the hat. If you've done any of our autumn, of our tomte kits before, whether it is the two tomte that we do with arms and posable arms and legs, or whether you do the Christmas edition of our tomte, the hat is made in a different way to this one. So this is a really much simpler way and very, very quick, especially for beginners. You do, however, need your colorful dragon mix, and these are the colors it presents here today. Lots of look, there's a nice bit of red there and some purple, some yellows and greens. So I'm just going to remind myself what the split is. So you're going to take a wisp off. A wisp is always good, or a pinch even. I'm taking this off and put it to one side. And then you're going to split the rest in half. I'm pretty certain that's what it says. Yes. So 1/2. If bits are coming off, don't worry too much about it. Just split it into half for now. Put this there. And then this is the other half, and then, as you did with the nose, you're going to wind this into a ball shape, which means that you might have to tuck the sides in as you're trying to get to this part here, which at the same time you're actually teasing out, because you want it to get lots and lots of thinner layers on top of the shape. So tease it out, and then when you get to the end, fold it over. If you roll it up quite tightly, you don't have to needle felt an awful lot. Get these wispy ends folded over the shape. Rest it on your felting mat. They're the wispy shapes. Fold them over. Wispy ends even. Stab into them. And you should be able to let go of it now, so it maintains a shape like that. Now it's never really that possible to make a completely round shape, but you're going to stab the shape now where it needs to get defluffed or shrink a little bit. The shape can stay quite soft and squishy. We're not making a very solid shape here, because that's all part sort of the structure of the hat. It can stay quite soft for now. It will get firmer in a minute, but just felt it down. I think I'm going to giving measurements in the instructions as well of what size it should be. It should be about what size? 5 centimeters in diameter. Let's have a look. This is about 5.5, so I'm just going to give it a little bit more of a stub to shrink it down a little bit more. Remember, where you stub the needle is where the reduction takes place. If you want to churn out lots and lots of these tomte, you could almost have a production line. Just make the round body shapes, then make the round noses, then make the round balls for hats whilst you're at it, and you just make all these different round basic shapes, and then dress them with a green wool, then with the curls, and finally make the hat. So you could almost have a little bit of a production line, maybe do different colors. So if you're crafting for Christmas, or maybe you're making your Christmas presents, or maybe you just want to have lots and lots of autumn tomte as a decoration. But remember, you can also vary the colors. We don't currently sell the wool balls on our website because we've got absolutely loads and loads of kits to pack up, so we're using them ourselves, but we have ordered some more, and hopefully we can offer them soon to you. So I've got my pinch still here. I'm keeping that separate, but what I'm doing now is when you've got wispy bits of a wool, it's always best to just get them off. Don't even try to attach them and make them fit. Just get them off. So you're now making a sheet of the remainder of that other half, and it should be about 12 by 12 centimeters. So let's just measure that. Remember, you have got a tape measure here on all of our instructions, so let's just use that. That's about 13 by 14, which is fine. We're not too fussed. That is not the exact size. And what you're doing now is you're folding the bottom part in, so you've got a neater edge here. Okay, so the rest I'm not worried about. And oh, I've got a bit of extra here. Let's lay that in the middle. Always lay the smaller parts on top of the bigger part. And now you need to lay the ball shape into the middle, near the edge, but not too close. So maybe have a centimeter there, and then fold each side of the sheet over, so that you just hold that point here where it overlaps with your finger, and that is what you just stab with a couple of stabs. You stab that closed. Okay, so that's not a lot of stabbing you're doing. So the way it looks now is it looks all open and fluffy here. It has got, you can see the balls inside, and now you need to there's another bit. I'm going to take that off. So now you need to shape that hat so that it becomes a pointy hat. It's best to do this with your hands, because you can sort of literally stroke it so that it becomes that pointed shape. And then at the top, if you've got wispy bits, just take them off. At the top, you're going to stab it into the top of the hat so that you make that pointy tip here. Felt it a few times, turn it. Felt it a few times, turn it. By the way, if you are getting into needle felting quite a bit, it's definitely worth getting one of our earth-friendly felting mats. Now, we don't actually sell this 10 by 10 centimeter size. It either comes in a 15 by 10, which is A6, or in A5 or in A4. If you have a look on our website, we have just changed the pricing of our A3 mats so that they're actually a lot more in line with the pricing of all the others. They were always a little bit expensive, but we've queried it with the supplier and we've now adjusted our prices. So the A3 is a very attractive mat now. So can you hear that I'm not actually hitting the table with my needle, and that is because the earth mat is definitely a better quality felting mat. Nothing wrong with this, especially because it's made from recycled wool and can be put in your compost bin when you don't need it anymore. But I do love a good old earth mat, either side. This one's a bit used already. So you've got a tip of the hat and you've got it fused here, and now we need to work on the middle. Now for this, you are literally just, I'm not even necessarily stabbing into the mat, I'm just literally shaping that bulging part of the hat so that I felt it down. So I'm getting that tapered shape, which means you have to turn your shape constantly. So otherwise you'll just make it flat. So make sure you stab into the areas you want to shrink back. This is a sort of a bit of a lengthier process to get this done in little mini steps, because you're felting into very, very lofty fluffy wool, and you're closing the hat up at the same time by stabbing into it. So we're doing this in small increments, but nevertheless we are stabbing this consistently so that it becomes that pointy shape. And if you look at the finished Tomte, let's have a look at that one here, the hat gets a lot smaller. So this is the way to just persevere by stabbing into the wool, even though it's quite lofty and feels very soft. And if you stabbed it a lot in one place, you would definitely make a large indentation. But just keep stabbing into it, keep lifting it off the mat and turn it, so that you now have definitely got more of a shape of a hat, and continue doing that. We're not touching this part down here. We're literally just working on the bit almost above the ball. I mean, I'm felting into the ball now, but only to bring it in line with the rest of the hat, because it needs to be felted down a little bit more. Now at some point, once you've got it so that it's that tapered shape, you can make it shorter and still felt it at the same time by sitting it on to the flat base at the bottom and stab into it at a shallow angle coming from the top, still in that line. So don't get tempted to go round the hat in circles like this. Just keep going from top to bottom, or bottom to okay, so I need to just clarify from Alicia what she just said to me, because I didn't actually understand it. So Alicia, please say it again. All I could hear was it, oh gosh, no, not that one. Sorry. I keep doing that. I've changed them round and now I still do it. Okay, I heard something of adoption, but I didn't hear anything else. Anyway, this is probably a good time to show it to you from this perspective. So you, okay, there's a question. Oh yes. Okay, so I get it now. Thank you, Alicia. So basically, we've got a new, we've got something new that's happening on our website, but it's not until November, where we are offering to you to adopt some of our makes, things like this that I'm making, and I've got like zillions of these. And we will offer them for you to adopt them, which means that they won't cost very much. We're just sort of charging a nominal fee that we can actually post them out to you and not be out of pocket. And that is not happening just yet this month. It will happen in November. There's two new things that are happening in November. One is that we are actually offering you start products. They change over every week, and they are discounted by a lot, up to 50%. You have to go onto the website, and the star will be in the title, so you can't miss them. They're not in the sales section. They're literally legitimately just the price has been lowered. And that is hopefully to help you craft for Christmas, and not just craft for Christmas, but maybe shop for Christmas as well. So if you're looking for a Christmas present, a kit, or maybe supplies, tools, this could include anything. We're being generous and give you, for a limited period of 1 week, we'll give you a start product which is a lot reduced. So that is happening on the 1st, it's actually happening on the 31st of October. So if you want to find out about this, definitely sign up for our newsletter. I don't know, Alicia, if you could put a newsletter sign up link into the comments, that would be amazing. And because you'll be the first to find out about that then. And then the adoption, adopt a make, I think that's what we're calling it. Adopt a make will be hopefully going live on the 1st of November as well. It involves quite a lot of work actually, because every single adoption make that we are offering is different, so we need to take lots of photos. They have been made with love, mostly by me, and we have too many things. We need to make some space. So we thought, who else better to offer them to than our lovely customers, as in you. So keep an eye out. That will change around all the time, and we hope that this will be a permanent feature as well. Right, what else do I need to tell you about? Next live streams coming up. Next time I'm on here, would you believe it, is the 1st of November. Is that actually true? Yes, it is. And we will be looking at subscription boxes, and it just so happens that the 1st of November is also a Tuesday. So we will be looking at what's inside the maker's box, which is a frog. Incidentally, the frog, even pictured there as a grey, brown, green frog, you will get a multitude of colors in there, so you can make a really bright colorful frog. The frame of the frog is suitable for other colored frogs and toads even. It's just a really good way of making a very realistic and what's the word, robust frog frame. And that's the maker's box. And then we will have the holly fairy to look at as well, and the contents of the fairy box. And then our surprise box is going to be All I Want. So that will be revealed on the 1st of November. No, you're not going to see the surprise box. I'm not going to show you, but we can talk about it. I can talk about it. I can tease. And then the following week, on the 8th of November, it's a giant Christmas pudding. And when I talk giant, I mean football size. So this will be hopefully something like a stash buster. If you've got any old wool, any jumpers, anything woolly, anything artificial stuffing, then you can use that. And I will show you how you can make a giant make. And then, of course, on the 15th of November, we will be making the Holly Fairy together. So that is coming up in terms of the live streams. While I've been chatting to you, I'm still working on the hat of the Tomte. So in many ways, the hat is probably almost takes longer than making the actual shape. But this is what the hat looks like now. I still haven't felted. This still looks the way it looked when I first wrapped the wool around it. It's unfelted, and it needs to stay that way because it needs to be quite stretchy still, because we need to fit it on the Tomte in a minute. I'm going to just have a quick look what other stories you're telling, because I'm fascinated by them. Vampire Venom says, Dad's mum dreamt the winner of the Grand National twice. Once it was such an outlier, Grandad wouldn't be on it. It was so far behind that when all the other horses fell, it was able to avoid and win. Wow. So you actually dreamt it and then it happened. That's amazing. You definitely like some spooky stories, don't you? Okay, let's read one from Carol. My spooky encounters are wide and various, from a playful ghost tapping me on the shoulder at the top of a stone spiral staircase to my granddad tapping me on the head, telling me everything will be okay. Oh, lots of tapping going on. Tapping ghosts. Ghosts, the series has the same idea, says Vampire Venom, although the lady got pushed out a window by a ghost. Okay, this is not so nice. As she technically died, even though she was resuscitated, she can see the ghosts trapped in the house. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is not an uncommon story, what I told earlier, when people have these out-of-body experiences. I'm always very cautious saying it, because there could be various views and fears and goodness knows what attached to it, and I should know because we've had letters of complaint coming through our door when we were making needle-felted witches, and basically saying this was not okay and it was tempting evil things and so on. So I don't want to get involved in any kind of outrage around different people's beliefs and what they think should happen when these kind of things get mentioned. But we're doing this in good fun here today, and it is Halloween coming up, so we're all allowed to tell a spooky story. I don't want to get kicked out of YouTube for this. I've had a slightly scarier story. Oh no, that's we've been there. Sorry, a Rose says, smell is a big one. I kept smelling an old memory and it didn't disappear until I recognized and acknowledged it and said hi. There you go. What else? Elaine, what does she say? Went to a school that had a really old part, and we used to have pottery lessons in the basement, and no one would go in there on their own because of the ghost nun that haunted it. I mean, children often see these appearances, and they sort of, they don't talk about it, and they're not scared. It's just normal. But I think as adults we've probably been primed that that such things don't exist. Anyway, right, back to a hat for the Tomte. And so that it now needs to be fitted on his head. So there's a lot of felting that can still take place, but before it gets too firm, I want to put it on his head. So at the moment it doesn't fit, but what you need to do is you need to be quite fist-handed now and pull that hat on whilst pushing it from the top as well. So pull the wool down, literally pull the wool over his eyes. And when you know that every single bit of that white ball is covered, even going down to the nose, that is when you take your felting needle and you're stabbing really hard into the ball shape that you made earlier, but also into the ball shape that's inside, ready-made inside the Tomte, and just get that hat fastened on. So really deep stabs with your felting needle. This is definitely nothing for faint-hearted people, so give it some really good stabs here so that the wool gets fastened on all the way around. I'm still pushing that hat down so it doesn't slip off where I want it to be until I've made a full circle with fastening it onto the main hat. So you do need to feel that you're going into this very firm white ball, stabbing through the softer ball that you've needle felted. But once you've done this, the hat is fastened on. I'm still not going near the edge, but what you can do is you can felt a little bit more of the shape of the hat. Remember to go in that line, so don't start doing circles going around it. Just stay in that line. And if you want to bring the size of the hat down, so the length of it, then just stab from the top at a shallow angle down towards the base of the hat. And always do it in small increments, so just don't stab just on one space. Keep moving around because you need to do this all over to maintain the symmetry. And this is also the way that you can put sort of a slight kink into the hat if you want it not to be just straight pointing up. But you can have it slightly at an angle, so you can shape that already if you want to, or just get the hat felted down really solidly first. When you get to this part here, the way to do this is as follows. Let's start at the front. You very gently work your way towards the edge of the hat. So felt this down, and then when you get to the area, if you felt straight into it, you would actually fuse it onto the shape. You're actually stabbing into the space between the hat and where the shape is, and that way you maintain the edge of the hat, and at the same time you are felting it basically. So stab into that area and then go all the way around on the back as well. So get as close as you can without fastening it flat straight onto the shape. Now when you get to the back, you can use the making the edge more defined by putting the hair in there at the same time. So you can do two things all at once. Just add the hair into there that you've kept from earlier and work your way. Make sure you've got enough that it goes all the way around. Tease it out a little bit sideways. That will make it a little bit more bulky, and then felt that down into that gap between the hat and the body like that, but maintaining that edge of the hat. Now if for whatever reason you've got an uneven part, which is why you've kept some wool apart, you can recreate that edge by just using a bit of wool and fold it in half and lay it over the area where you need to bring the hat down a little bit further, because it's been felted flat or it's been pushed up. Felt it onto the remainder of the hat first, and then as you did earlier, felt your way slowly towards the edge, and that way you've now added a bit of the hat where it might have got a bit flattened or it was pushed up or whatever. So you can actually melt another bit of the hat back into the existing hat if need be. And that way you work your way all the way around. So I've done this bit now. The hat should slouch over the nose, but if it's not slouching enough, just take a little bit of the wool, fold it in half. Because it's such a variegated wool, it doesn't really matter if the colors are slightly different. It will melt into the rest of the wool, as long as you've got wispy fibers there. So make sure that the folded part is on top of the nose or by the body, rather than going into the hat, because that will make a line, and we don't want there to be a clear line. We only want that clear line to be wherever the edge of the hat is. So felt it down first, and then felt into the area between the hat and the nose in this case. And then work your way all the way around, add more hair. I'm going to stretch it as much as I can, so I've got enough that fits the whole back of the tomte. It's a little bit straggly, the hair at the back, but I think that's okay. And basically that is your tomte finished. Another one that might find its way to our Adopt a Make site. So I will check in how we're doing with getting all of this done, but it is a constantly a widening and broadening part of the website, which will all come live in the next week basically. So keep an eye out, and the prices will be very reasonable. We're not charging you for time and materials or anything like this. We're charging you basically so that we cover some of our admin fees and make sure that it goes to a good home, but and there are no strings attached to it. If you want, some of them are not as perfect as you might want to make them. If you want to perfect them and then sell them on, feel free. They are not, I don't claim them as my copyright. They can be yours. They're literally adopted by you. You're the new owners basically. So might even get an adoption certificate, but we don't have to vet you. We trust that if you adopt one of our makes, that you will be a very good parent indeed. Right. Okay, that's it basically. I've left this hat very long. Almost doesn't fit into the screen, but you can scrunch it down a bit. You can even have it coming down like this. You can add decorations on top of it. It's entirely up to you how you want to make that. You can even twist it, make it into a swirly hat, and that basically is the tomte finished. There he is. Let's give it a little twirl. There you are, all done. He can join his friends now. He's definitely winning in terms of the length of the hat, but they're all very handsome sitting there together. What else do I have to tell you? I don't think there is anything else. You know about the next sub boxes, so I don't need to repeat that. We've got, oh yes, the cats. Let's talk about the cats. So the cats are now, that's not cats, that's kids. The cats. The Angel Tree Topper is now live to buy a kit for on the Cats Protection website. And if you type in exactly that name, which is www.cats.org.uk/wintercraft, it will come up. You have the choice of two kits. One is the kit that makes a torty, white and ginger cat, so it's quite a light coloured cat theme, or a tabby grey and black cat. Each kit makes one cat of your choice, or it could be a combination of any of the three in that kit, or it could be your identical cat. You just have to decide whether your cat is more of a lighter colour and has got the ginger in it, or whether it's more of a darker colour and has got the grey black in it, basically. You don't need to give them wings. That is entirely optional. You have the opportunity to do that because the materials and the instructions are in the kit. On the 26th of November, I will be teaching how to make the cat angel live on the Craft for Cats Facebook group. You will be part of the Facebook group once you buy a kit and you get an invitation to join. Unless you're already part of it, then you can just buy the kit and you're there already. And that is on the 26th of November at 10:30 until 12 p.m. So it's £20 to sign up. Half of that, £10, will stay with the craft for cats, or the oh, for goodness sake, wrong button, will stay with the cats protection, and will go 100% towards the good cause in helping cats in need. And I know I said about putting the Tomte into the box again, so I'm going to have to do that. But I think my Tomte's got a slightly long hat, so I just have to do it because I'm being a bit silly. There, look, he's looking out. He's got a window into the world. No black dark box. He's traveling in style. Here you go. Anyway, I just had to do that. That was probably not necessary, but that's all I've got to say today. And I thought I was going to keep it short and sweet, but I got, as usual, carried away because I can't do half measures. I always have to do whole measures. And of course, you kept me utterly amused by telling me your amazing spooky stories. So I hope you all have a lovely week, rest of the week. For those of you who are watching on Thursday, thank you very much for your support, especially if you've given us a star. The stars represent your appreciation for the times and for the time and hours and materials that we put into showing you these free tutorials, which of course stay on our YouTube channel and you can rewatch anytime. And that's all from my part now. So take care, everybody. Have a lovely rest of the week, and I'll see you soon. Bye. No, I haven't got the new end screen. So I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm just going to go with the start screen. I'm so sorry. I'm still here, but you're just going to have to look at that now while I'm finishing. Bye.